Now, anyway, this is my mobile phone, and I'm a bit bugged because certain things it does aren't quite like I'd like them to be. And maybe Colin can tell us a couple of words on how to change this in his talk about exploitation of, well, Symbian cell phones in that case, so I'm not sure that he'll be solving my problems, but maybe yours. So let's welcome Colin.
Hello? Okay. Okay, so I will tell you something about Symbian security and especially about how to exploit Symbian OS and how to develop shellcode. I will skip this part. You can all, everybody just can read it in the slides, which are going to be for download. So the main aim of the presentation is to prove that Symbian OS can really be exploited like any other desktop or server or other mobile phone OS. As far as I know, there haven't been any public presentations or writings about this topic, so yeah, this is really the aim, just to show the possibilities, and just I will provide some references for shellcode development, so show some small weaknesses in the Symbian capability system, and will show a small proof of concept self-signing mobile malware. First, you will get a short introduction to Symbian OS, and we'll just show you what currently the security issues are. Then I will introduce you to the POSIX API, which was recently added to Symbian OS, which actually got me started thinking about researching Symbian security. A short part on stack smashing attacks, shell coding, the capability system, the proof of concept, and I will just give you some conclusions and some ideas for future work for me and you and everybody else. So since my main research focus is really mobile phone security, I always now start to put in a short rant mobile system security is really necessary. Your phone is not a phone, it's a computer, and a computer with many more network interfaces or connectivity interfaces than your average PC. And you can lose real money and really easy if your cell phone is being attacked. So it's a real issue, and some people still think whatever, I just punch in 10 numbers and make a call, and but that's not the thing anymore. It's a computer. And as far as I know, or as I guess, there are really more cell phones out there than personal computers. So if you say it's like a small area, it's not. It's cell phones are, or especially smartphones are, the thing to attack if you want to go into the math. Oops. Sorry. So the Symbian is interesting because it's really the major smartphone operating system. It really has about 50%. I think it's just a little bit lower now, but it's about 50% of the smartphone market. So not all mobile phones, of course, but really the smartphone stuff, it's really this thing. So if you want to do hardcore mobile phone security research, Symbian is your Windows XP or whatever. It's mainly used by Nokia and Sony Ericsson. It was recently bought by Nokia, so they will make it open source or make it free, something that. Symbian is really old because it's based on the Epoch OS, which was developed by Psion some years ago. One of the interesting parts is that Symbian OS really has this it's a little bit like Linux, where you have like your OS and a different UI system. So every hardware manufacturer basically makes their own GUI. So, but underneath it's just Symbian. It's all the same. It just the GUI system just looks totally different. So many people may just don't know that it's Symbian. The three common or more known ones are Series 60 from Nokia, the UIQ from Sony Ericsson, and the probably not known at all here in Europe is MOAP from Sharp, which they make for NTT Docomo in Japan. So, and Symbian is really big. So there's just a really small collection of devices from many different manufacturers like Nokia, Sony Ericsson, Motorola, Samsung. Yeah, it's everywhere. So, okay. I will only cover Symbian OS version 9, which is the current version that's used, because before OS 9 or Symbian version 9, there was no real system security. I actually looked mostly at Series 60 3rd edition, because that's the version where they really started building security really in. In short, yeah, Symbian the Symbian kernel is multiprocessing, multi-threading, can do preemptive multitasking. You have memory protection, real-time support. It's a client, it's a microkernel with client-server architecture. Yeah, it's a single user system, so no root, no user. It's just one user. Yeah. The interesting part, of course, is the security, and then on the Symbian security is, it's called platform security. It's basically divided in three parts. You have capabilities. So instead of users with certain rights and access levels, you just have binaries which have or libraries which have certain rights assigned to them. So depending on what application you execute, these applications have certain rights. I will talk about that later more. Then you have code signing, so all the libraries and DLLs need to be signed in order to be executed. It's also very common now on other platforms. And then you have data caging, where you just say, okay, you can only execute binaries from this directory, and processors can only write their stuff to this directory, and of course to some temp directory. So you have a nice, it's not really sandboxing, but it's a little bit like that. So, yeah. So until now, and especially with the older Symbian versions, Symbian 8, and I don't know if even 7, but mainly with Symbian version 8, you had a lot of Bluetooth worms and MMS worms. There were some Trojans, some viruses. You had several Bluetooth-based security issues. The one main thing where people really went after, which it's now Symbian OS 9, is the capability system and the signing system, because freeware developers just thought, oh, I want to use all the nice features of my phone, but I don't want to buy an expensive certificate, and even I can buy a certificate, some features are still reserved. So they started either reflashing their devices with modified firmwares which don't have certain capabilities. Or they actually add certain capabilities to the standard set of capabilities. And then other people found a nice exploit using the onboard device debugger, so they just changed some memory in kernel, so they could erase the privileges of their applications to do like file browsing on all directories. So that's basically what's currently out there. Yeah. There has been some previous work, so companies like F-Secure in particular, they publish a lot on Symbian security, especially on malware. Then you have, of course, the application and game cracker people who mostly publish reverse engineering stuff. And yeah, other security researchers like Ollie, who study Symbian security for a long time and always have published nice stuff, so they get a lot of credits. I will have at the end of the slides, which are available after the talk. I have all the references for, so you can look up and read. So when you start working with Symbian, you will notice Symbian is really different. There's no like Big Brother OS like Windows or Linux where you can like play with it and get used to it before you actually play with your phone. You don't have a standard API. Everything is really different compared with your like PC or server stuff. When you start getting into Symbian, you will notice people in forums will always complain because they don't understand it and it's really hard and difficult. So that's what actually kept me a long time from actually working with Symbian. And then when I heard about the OpenC, so the POSIX API release for Symbian OS, that really got me interested. And that's actually why I give the talk, because if you're familiar to POSIX programming, so Linux, Unix, Windows, of course, then you can just write applications and as you're used to, and it's a lot more fun and just, yeah. So a nice quote I found about Symbian is from Mike Rowell. He's some guy who does a lot of mobile device development. He said Symbian is the most developer hostile system he ever worked with. And that's, I also talked to other Symbian developers, and that's just like, yeah, programming is no fun. But yeah, that shouldn't keep you from trying to explore and exploit. It's just something you want to know in the beginning and don't give up in the first week. Okay, as I said, Symbian started to port all the C libraries to, or the basic POSIX libraries to Symbian OS, just to like ease the portability of applications. You can just take your Unix whatever application or at least library and recompile it for Symbian. Then basically ported libc, libm, the SSL stuff, some threading, the G library, the glib stuff. Yeah, you will all get all the nice stuff like string copy and string cut, sprintf, all the old school security hazards. And yeah, if you disassemble stuff, you will see it's used. Of course, right now you still have to install the pips libraries by hand, but since developers are free to just install it together with their applications, you will not even see that it's used. The newer Symbian OS versions will just have it included. So, yeah. Yeah, So sys files, if you ever installed an application you ever on your Symbian phone, you know what a sys file is. It's basically just an application installer package. So some essential tools, you want, of course, your IDE, which is free now, thanks to Nokia. A nice disassembler. The best one is IDA Pro. It understands Symbian binaries. Yeah, and you want to unpack sys files, so Sysware is a good tool. An ARM assembler. I like Linux, so I just work with a standard Linux ARM cross-compiler. Of course, USB cable charger for remote debugging. And of course, you want to use a Symbian device with Wi-Fi, so you don't spend too much time and money on your GSM UMTS connection. That's what you will need. Yeah, I mainly played with these two devices. I know they're kind of old, but the author is the same, and there's no reason